Hey everyone, it's Miss Joyce. Today we'll be learning how to rewrite decimals as fractions, as well as use the standard algorithm to multiply whole numbers by decimals. We're going to rewrite each decimal as a fraction. We can use the place value chart below to help us. Here's our place value chart. Our first problem is 0 and 4 tenths. So we're going to place the digits in the place value chart. The 0 is going in the ones place, and the 4 is in the tenths place. So since our last digit is the 4 and it's in the tenths place, we are going to write this as 4 tenths. We can see here the 4 is what we see. That's the number on top, and it's in the tenths place. So there's going to be a 10 on the bottom. Now let's try B. We have 0 and 4 hundredths. So we're going to put a 0 in the ones place, a 0 in the tenths place, and a 4 in the hundredths place. So we can see here that we have 0 and 4 hundredths. We can see the number 4, so that's going to be our numerator. And the last digit 4 is in the hundredths place, so our denominator or the bottom number is 100. 4 hundredths is equal to 4 over 100. For C, we have 0 and 4 thousandths. So we're going to place a 0 in the ones place, a 0 in the tenths place, a 0 in the hundredths place, and a 4 in the thousandths place. So when we look at this number, we can see the number 4, and the last digit 4 is in the thousands place. So we're going to write this as 4 thousandths. The number we see is on top as our numerator, and the place value that the last digit is in, the thousandths, is going to be our denominator. Now we have 1 and 36 hundredths. So to place this in the place value chart, we're going to put a 1 in the ones place, the 3 in the tenths, and the 6 in the hundredths. We notice here that our number is bigger than 1. We have a whole number. So this 1, which is in front of the decimal, is going to go in front of our fraction here as our big whole number. After the decimal, we see the number 36. So we're going to place that on top as our numerator. The last digit 6 is in the hundredths place. So we're going to place 100 in the bottom as our denominator. We have 1 and 36 hundredths. Next, we have 5 and 8 hundredths. So we have the 5 in the ones place, a 0 in the tenths, and an 8 in the hundredths. Our whole number is anything before the decimal point. So we're going to place a big 5 in front of the fraction. If we look after the decimal point, we see the number 8. So that is going to be our numerator. And the last digit 8 is in the hundredths place. So our denominator is going to be 100. For F, we have 3 and 16 thousandths. So we're going to place a 3 in the ones place, a 0 in the tenths, a 1 in the hundredths, and a 6 in the thousandths. Everything before the decimal point is our whole number, so we have 3 as our whole number. We're going to place a big 3 before the fraction. After the decimal point, we see the number 16, so that's going to be our numerator. The last digit 6 is in the thousandths place, so we're going to place 1,000 as our denominator. 3 and 16 thousandths. Next, we have 12 and 5 hundredths. So we're going to place the 1 in the tens place, the 2 in the ones, the 0 in the tenths, and the 5 in the hundredths. Before the decimal point, we see the number 12. So that's going to be our whole number in the front. After the decimal point, we see the number 5. So that's going to be our numerator. And the 5 is in the hundredths place. So our denominator is going to be 100. For H, we have 4 and 108 thousandths. So let's place that in the place value chart. The 4 goes in the ones place, the 1 in the tenths, the 0 in the hundredths, and the 8 in the thousandths. Before the decimal point, we have the number 4, so that's going to be our whole number in front of the fraction. After the decimal point, we have 108, so that's going to be our numerator. The last digit 8 is in the thousandths place, so the denominator is going to be 1,000. Finally, we have 26 and 34 thousandths. So let's place that in the place value chart. Before the decimal, we have 26. So we're going to place a big 26 in front of the fraction. After the decimal point, we have 34. So the numerator is going to be 34. The last digit is the 4 in the thousandths place. So the denominator is going to be 1,000. we have 26 and 34 thousandths.